Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Falani. We're going to continue with the, Kaduna, Abuja-Kaduna train attack that we were on yesterday. There's still more to be said about that. Well, the presidency has released a statement. In fact, there's a statement dated from the 29th, and we'll talk on that statement in its their reaction. In addition to all that we spoke about yesterday, you saw all the ministers, at the site inspecting it. So we'll take it further today because that communication, which some of you, if not most of you, have seen, talks about the president directing the immediate conclusion of ISSM, that is Integrated Security Surveillance and Monitoring. So the president has directed that now has to be fast-tracked, and it has to be extended to the Lagos-Ibadan route. So let's talk about that. We have joining us remotely, a security consultant, Mr. Seyi Adetayo. Good morning to you, Mr. Adetayo.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very, very much for making time for us, and we understand. Thank you very much for your sacrifice. We understand you're sort of under the weather, but this was so important. We will manage. Even if you're sounding a bit nasal, we'll understand it. So thank you very much for that. So let's just go. The immediate conclusion of the Integrated Security Surveillance and Monitoring project that the president has now said must be fast-tracked and needs to be extended to the Lagos-Ibadan line. Please tell us what it is. What is Integrated Security Surveillance and Monitoring?
Okay, thank you so much. Though I may not have complete details of the components within the contract, however, from understanding as a security expert, it is basically monitoring and surveillance devices that largely works on sensors, which can detect motion, that can detect sounds, can operating under certain, impulse threshold, where when something it's not right, it will quickly detect it and then send signals. And the signals will also, the response will be integrated with the response solutions in terms of sending signals to the next train station, sending signals to responding agencies and the rest. And then also where cameras will be involved, then it will trigger active monitoring of the camera in that particular location and picking or taking pictures of whatever that is happening there. That's likely what surveillance sensors do. They monitor either temperature, either touch, feel, and also sound, motions, and the rest. So those are likely or cuts. When there is a cut, they notice that. But we say we need to understand this. Is a good solution, but is it fit for purpose right now? The answer is no. The answer is technically no.
It's not fit for purpose now.
Right now, you see, when we talk about technical solutions, there's something we call technology, process, and person. You see, three things are involved: the people, the technology, the people, and the process. Now, these three things sit inside a circle, and the circle is the environment. Is the environment right for you to implement such? The answer is no. It's like a man that is renovating his house when the war is happening. There is ongoing war, and you are renovating your house. No sooner bomb will land in that house. It's not a time for you to renovate house. The issue we are having right now is an environment that is infested by militants, standing soldiers that are attacking. Such investment will be lost within 1 month and will come back to square one. What we need to address is, Yoruba used to say, we must remove the lies from the body first for us to be able to put those equipment there. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen. Remember, The other time that we were together, I told you that first thing that will happen, because these things are going to work on sensors, probably cameras and the rest, and they are going to put them at interval along the rail line. We're talking about 186 kilometers rail line. Abuja to Kaduna rail line is 186 kilometers. So they're going to put it at intervals, which means that those sensors are going to be on the rail lines. And probably the cameras are going to be at probably on some telecom masts, or they're going to erect some things or electrical high tension, this thing. The truth here is that I give you 1 month. Half of those equipment will be at Alaba market. We've seen what is happening. We've seen vendors removing, the hangers of the rail lines. We've seen vendors going into a manhole, removing cables, network service provider, their 4G, fiber cables, removing it, cutting it and removing it, without anybody stopping or challenging them. So much vandalism is going on. And we're talking of an area that is largely unpoliced, unsecured, and you want to put such an investment. It is a good investment, but not the right time. It's an investment we need to put an hold on first. Let us deal with the issue. The second thing here is this. Such equipment, if they are meant for a kind of threat, ranging from probably thieves or hijacking, but not this kind of threat. Now, the people who can put IEDs or dynamite on the rail line and blow the rail line, open fire on a train, and you want to put sensors on that rail so that you know when they are putting IED. They are so wise enough that when they know you have a sensor there, they will not put IED on the rail line anymore. It takes them nothing to stand at least 100 meters away from the train, fire RPGs on the train when approaching. The train will still be demobilized. The same effect will be achieved, even worse, than when they put an IEDs on the rail line. Do they have capability? Yes, we've seen their videos with a lot of RPGs in their hand. And we've seen that they have the capability of doing this. These are people who can down a military jet.
Yeah, because they have done that. Now, Shegun, so let me clarify something. Because, sorry, I did get the impression when you explained, what the ISSM, International Integrated Security Surveillance and Monitoring System and Project is. I got the impression that there would be, or in an ideal case scenario, there should be a control room somewhere, such as you see on television, especially foreign television, of police traffic management, where they're in a control room and they can see virtually all of the terrain that they happen to be monitoring. So I'm imagining that kind of a thing will be the situation here as well. I don't see any cables. I don't see anything. So I didn't want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, but
the truth is that it's going to be like that. There will be an active live monitoring of the system. However, see, we need to look at the reality. We're talking about response now to incident. These guys are guys who doesn't care whether you are watching them or not. They are attacking everywhere, even when they know that you are there, they still go and attack. They are bold enough to move into military formation and attack a military formation. They don't care whether you are going to respond or not. Then let us look at our possible earliest response time. It will take at least 10 minutes for the chopper to start, for response fighters to enter the chopper, for the chopper to be in the air. The best option, or the best possible response for a chopper to be in the air is 5 minutes. And I don't even say 5 minutes response. And we're talking about 186 kilometers length rail. So if a chopper is taken off from Abuja or from Kaduna, before it flies to that place, it will still gain about 10 to 15 minutes. These guys can operate within between 10 to 15 minutes and get out of that place.
And cause a lot of havoc.
Even before the military response gets there. Even the fact that the chopper will respond does not mean that the chopper will be effective, because they have equipment to down a chopper.
Well, Shegun, the question here is that rail, ordinarily, rail is supposed to be one of the safest modes of transportation, all other things be considered. And if
in a safe environment.
Thank you. all other things being equal, in a safe environment.
Not in a state of war.
From a security point of view, then, are you saying that this is almost like an intractable situation? Because you've said some things. One of the most difficult people to fight, we say it locally, is the person who doesn't mind dying. So the person who has already given up that, I don't need to come back home from this particular assignment. So those people are difficult to... So I got it when you said, these people don't even care. But for the rest of us that do care, the government is in a... For instance, government has said in the statement that was released by the State House that the earlier directive of the president to the military to deal ruthlessly with these terrorists, well, as I said, it's an earlier instruction that was now reiterated in this new communication. I don't know, talk to me about this matter about dealing ruthlessly. Well, at least now and again, well, nowadays you hear the presidency also using the word terrorists. So has that changed anything? Can the military deal ruthlessly with this situation and thereby deter them?
Are you aware that a new IED has just been found along the rail line? Today. Today,
this morning. It was found
at Shanonu area in Gaza.
But it wasn't detonated. It was discovered before detonation.
Yes, not yet detonated. Just this morning, the EODs are there. So when you're saying dealing ruthlessly, it is relative. To me, I think Mr. President is responding based on the amount of information that is made available to him. I'm not sure that the right kind of advice has been given and then he will not sign up for it. We must realize the fact that Nigeria is in a state of war. Until we come to terms with that and we do what we are supposed to do when a nation is in a state of war, we can't come out of this. All what we are doing now is purely window dressing. They are cosmetic solutions and they will solve nothing. They will solve nothing. Yesterday, Zaria was attacked, a low-cost community in Zaria was attacked yesterday night. People were kidnapped. In Kaduna.
So what's the way out of this then? Because this is a very dire picture that you are painting for us. We are in grave danger. Yes, the right things are being said, but you are saying as a professional, as a working professional, that these are the challenges with the the book that has been written on this whole matter. It looks good, it sounds good, but then you are, from what you are pointing out, showing that it still is a difficult situation. What would be your suggestion? We can't just roll over and die, so to speak.
Okay, I think I'm going to bring Sheikh Gumi's statement into fore right now. When the cleric said that we should negotiate because he sees with what he saw when he went to the camp that he's afraid. This man is a retired military. I do not agree with him that we should negotiate, and I still stand by that. And I expect that the government, when government is also making that stand, that they're not going to listen to his counsel, that the response will be commensurate with the capacity and capability of these terrorists. Our response, even when we're saying no, we're not going to negotiate, we must have adopted the right response that will be commensurate. And I know the cleric was saying that because he believes that we're still going to follow the same approach. And if we continue to follow the same approach, this thing is going to get out of hand. Now it has spread everywhere. Niger State is a no-no right now. It's more or less like a lost zone. People, as of yesterday, Shiro community, people were leaving the community. They were leaving the community. There are videos of people, mass exodus of people out of the community because of bandits. Same thing in some communities around Zamfara. Tase, Yankara Road have been attacked almost every day. People are being killed. Policemen are being killed. They are being put there on patrol. Everywhere is largely, having one problem or the other. Not Southeast is also there. Police are endangered species in the Southeast. And the impact of this is that at the time when there is no oil, at the time when economy, is looking so bad, and price inflation is so high, and we are bedeviled with this, it is not looking good for us as a nation. We need to declare a state of war. Government should activate all the necessary protocol when the country is declaring war, so that the military can be given the power to begin to do the needful. And part of the needful will mean that the emergency must be declared in all the affected areas, and martial laws should begin to start in operation. Okay. We need massive clearance. Yeah. Military must stop waiting for these people to come out of the forest to attack them. Okay. They must take the war to them. And taking the war to them requires that the current military size, the size of our military, cannot deal with Niger State alone, let alone Zamfara, Kaduna, really? Katsina, Sokoto. Kebbi is endangered.
Okay, how much more of a declaration of a state of war against terrorism can the Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, get when he's reiterating his earlier directive that the military must deal ruthlessly? I mean, ruthlessly is ruthlessly. I mean, give me, doesn't that say to you that the president's patience is all but gone?
You see, let me break this down so that you can understand what I'm saying. Number one, the Nigerian Armed Forces are carrying out intervention in almost every part of Nigeria as it is today. They are outstretched. They are already thinned out. They are losing men, and they are not replenishing as much as they are losing. They are making advances, they are making gains. But the more they are making gains, the more these people are, their ranks are getting, swelled every day. And the more these people are also moving to new areas, creating bigger territory and bringing in more people. This is not something that will feel that, oh, let us carry out an operation for 2-3 months, I will think it's going to be over. No. We must have a 2-3 years plan where we declare this, we are in a state of war. It means that government spending, laws, rules that are going to guide the operations will change from the way it is. This will also include attending immediately to those that are arrested, tried under military rule as an enemy combatant, not under civilian courts. Okay. As it is being done during the war situation. So that justice will be done immediately. Okay. People will be seeing that justice is being done. Okay. You arrest this person for this, take person.
I'm going to come back.
Treat it as an enemy combatant. Take him to the trial. If this person is going to die by firing squad, let the person be executed. Let the whole world see. Nigerians see. Their crime does not pay Nigeria. You will pay for it. Look at many of them are in prisons in the last 4 or 5 years. Nothing has been done to them. Some of the cases have not even been, concluded with.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you, Shegun, because I really want to have this conversation. What would the difference look like between the president telling the military to deal ruthlessly with all these kind of people and the martial law that you are saying that if we're serious, then we need to really, really, really get serious? In the meantime, Reverend Dominic has called in. Good morning to you, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Chief Yori. How are you today?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to your wonderful guest. Yori, since you have been inviting what we call security experts since this war started, this young man had made my day. How on earth, Yori? Oh, Yori, let me put it this way. Give me 30 seconds. Yori, when terrorists attacked France, we saw it with our eyes. How the Gentile of the France or the police of the France locked down that city to fish out those guys. When terrorists attack what they call the end of marathon somewhere in Boston, in America, we saw how the soldiers locked down that city to fish out those two brothers. Don't we have capacity? Don't Nigerian Army, Air Force, Navy have capacity to lock down Kaduna State? If we have locked down Kaduna State, Where with this fool we have effrontery to attack yesterday? Let me give you this information. We're not daft here. We're not stupid in Nigeria. If there's any place terrorists or bandits should run away from, it's Kaduna State. Kaduna have NDA. Kaduna have police formations. Kaduna have police training equipment companies. Kaduna have over 12, military establishments. And these people are not afraid of it. Is it the sensor or camera you put on the railway they'll be afraid of? We don't have political will. Let me say this on the record. One of our friends insulted me one day in your studio. When I said that in the north, the governors know who are the bandits. He insulted me. I don't care. But yesterday, El-Rufai have joined me on that call. El-Rufai said that the police know where these people are. Military listen to their conversations. They have intelligence, but they're doing nothing. How long will he be frustrated? Now, Governor El-Rufai have joined me to say, we know where these people are, but we do nothing about it. I'm a pastor, Yori, and I belong to this nation. I'm widely traveled. I can give information of this nation. We have no political will to find these criminals. Any day we make up our mind that enough is enough, the bandits will stop today.
Okay.
Will stop today.
All right then. Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Yesterday we were speaking with a retired security consultant and retired brigadier general, and he was saying that, look, he's heard it, as many have, that our boys in uniform, the military, is not bringing their all to this particular assignment for other kind of considerations, among which include things like we're all Nigerians. These may be, a bit naughty. They're not, but because you have to put this situation side by side with the things that we're also seeing. Some Boko Haram people have been reoriented and actually being absorbed into the army. So, but the group captain was telling us that, yeah, that's it. It wasn't a brigadier general. It was a group captain. Shehu, and he said, yes, Shehu Sadiq, and he was saying that it's not true, that it is not true from his perspective. I mean, he's a pro, he knows that it's not true what the general public feel. But, well, the general public will be looking at the results that they have. And so let me just also, first of all, I've been mixing up the names of my guests, which is very unfortunate. I've been calling Mr. Adetayo Shegun. It is actually Sheyi, so apologies to you, Sheyi Adetayo. Shegun, that was on my tongue, is the name of Shegun Eson, a journalist and General Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Railwaymen, is in the studio with me. Thank you very much. I've been calling your name before even you've come on. Okay. So, General Secretary, Nigerian Union of Railwaymen, and you've been at your job for more than 2 or 3 days, as we say. What is security like? Because there was a time when people used to put their children or themselves on a train and go to sleep. You read your book, you read your novel, and you're just waiting to get to your destination. What was security like then, or was it totally absent? And then what's your assessment of what is being proposed now? You've heard commentary already. Professionals saying that, well, it's okay, but we don't think very much of it. What do you think as somebody in the system? Well,
thank you very much. I think there's this basic thing that we need to understand. When railway business started in Nigeria, precisely in 1898, with narrow gauge, we're not having the kind of security challenges we're having, even up till 1990s and all of that. So when you look at the security challenges we're having then, it wasn't having the picture of what we're having now. Mm-hmm. And as of that time, even up till now, railway has a complete police command.
Okay, yeah. It has always had that.
Yeah. Man-o-war command, and recently just added to his fleet of commands, mm-hmm. The civil defense, corps, equally having his command in Nigerian railway. So,
but the job has been very easy simply because there was
very easy
because
like
there was no threat.
Yeah,
they were just there.
The security challenges were not there those days. And not even minding the fact that the tracks were open. I mean, the narrow gauge system we started with, were very, very open, and anybody from anywhere can access it. There wasn't anything like that. And that is why it becomes very, very expedient, you know, on the government and, of course, all Nigerians to understand that we are coming with evolving issues. We are no longer in the past times when, you know, we were not having challenges of, you know, armed attacks on the train and all of that.
Well, so in a sense, all those security formations that you said the Nigerian Railway has, they might not be, to borrow the word of Sheyi, might not be fit for purpose, because they've not been stretched, they've not been trained in what is required today.
No, what I'm trying to strike is a note of comparison.
Okay.
You know, from the past time when we're having very, really jolly, safe, you know, train system compared to what we're having now.
This goes back to the days when people in this country, you know, could sleep outside, you know, in front of their house, you know, that kind of thing.
Security challenges.
You didn't need to be bolting your doors and turning your house into a prison. Those were those days. And it is in those days that the security was working the way it was working. So, but now it's a paradigm shift. This is, as Sheyi was saying there, it is war from his point of view, and that the country needs to actually, you know, be declaring war on these terrorists.
That exactly where is the point I'm going. Having seen what the situation was in the past, completely different from what we're having now, it becomes important on the government to equally adjust accordingly to the, you know, trend of time, so that they will just be there to, you know, really take care of any security problems that may arise.
I hear you. Okay, I'm going to take a break now, and Sheyi Aditayo, we're going to take a break now. We'll be right back, and then we'll continue with this conversation, and of course we'll take calls from you know, viewers out there. Stay with us, please. Okay, so welcome back, and we're looking at the dastardly train attack on the Kaduna-Abuja route yesterday. Well, no, not yesterday. This was Monday, actually. Remember, it was a Monday, and then on Tuesday, we were here, you know, going about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's birthday. And then when most people heard about what had happened was when Asiwaju Tinubu cancelled his colloquium that was actually holding. And that's, after that, we then got statements from, you know, the authorities. And here we are. You've heard, if you were with us from the beginning of the program, a security consultant saying that he is very worried that these measures announced by the presidency will achieve the desired results simply because of the nature of the foe, the nature of the adversary. These people, I don't know, we get the impression that they fight like kamikaze fighters. That is to say, they themselves, if need be, will throw themselves and donate themselves into the battle. They don't need to come back home. Those kind of guys are supposed to be terrible to fight. But he was telling us that the integrated system that we have, the integrated security, surveillance, and monitoring thing, even that has its limitations. Now, we've been hearing from our man in studio here, Mr. Segun Eson, that back in the day, all these formations were there. In fact, I was just reading the statement from the presidency, and I'm seeing, I don't know what effect it is going to have, but I'm seeing that the Nigeria Police Force took delivery of 16 innocent vehicle pickups, IVM carrier, donated by Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority for enhanced surveillance and patrol and crime prevention along the Kaduna, Abuja, Kano Expressway. Efforts, the statement concludes that aspect of it, efforts are ongoing to acquire more security assets to fortify the railway. Now, Sheyi was saying that, and we all know, it's almost like the problem we have with customs and policing our borders. You can't man every meter of our border. Certainly. You know. So these are some of the challenges that we have. And would you have any thoughts? It's not your particular area, security, but would you have any thoughts on what can be done in cooperation with all of these efforts by the government Even innocent vehicles are, being drafted into the situation. But there are thousands of kilometers of rail, right?
Yeah.
Thousands of kilometers of rail. And especially in the really difficult areas, they can strike at any time. Where do you think that leaves us? Everybody. As soon as we can get hold of our correspondent, I even want to look at the human damage, collateral human damage. A medical doctor was said to have been shot. They were shooting. I mean, this is crazy. It's just looking like the whole system is collapsing. Somebody was complaining that when non-state actors have as much, if not more, than coercive power at their disposal, we have a problem. How is railway, in your opinion, going to, depending when we get back to the security expert, going to be able to continue?
I really wouldn't want to sound any pessimistic. I listened to Komishe when he was talking, and honestly, railway system all over the world, particularly where we have them, well secured, where you can guarantee safety of lives and property in and around railway. The security, approaches that are, peculiar to railway system work elsewhere. So if we import such, security technology, it certainly work with us. And don't let us forget so quickly what the Honorable Minister said, that he made proposal for certain approval. So if that had been put in place,
yes,
it certainly would have,
yes, if it had been
gone a long way in, checking possible occurrences like that.
Indeed.
But what I want to say further is that this is not really the time, to be discouraging any approach taken by the federal government, because the case is so bad that everybody is looking at solution as to actually get the rail system
indeed
back to a safe, status. So we shouldn't be involved in, blaming. Rather, we should be offering, our suggestions and observations and all that. So from the angle of the union, I think what is more important here is to, encourage the federal government, in further entrenching security all around the railway system across the nation.
And what you say makes perfect sense, and I couldn't agree with you more. Nobody wants to be blaming or discouraging or disparaging our government's efforts, and nobody, I don't think, has been doing that. But the statement talks about the president reiterating his earlier directive that the military needs to be ruthless. I mean, once is enough. When your commander-in-chief says, no mercy. Many people who are not professional would take that as, these people are not playing again. Yeah. But there are other issues. Mazi Okorafo, let me just thank you for holding on all that while. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, again. Sayori, look, all these things we are talking, we don't fight terrorism with all these policy and talking. Look, Sayori, I want to ask the federal, we were told for the past 3 years or 4 that we have drones. And I still observed, there was a time I saw under the TVC, where Kaduna State government were using drones to drop drugs in some areas in Kaduna State. Drones, they were using drones. Now, what does it take Nigerian government to use such drones to monitor all these erosions? But let me give you a Nigerian example. After the Civil War, there was a sort of armed robbery operation that was going on in the eastern Nigeria. That time we were still in school. That was 70s and 80s, secondary school. I still remember that was when Obasanjo was military. They were using from Aba to Port Harcourt. The military vehicle and police vehicles, they were parading that route. One will be coming from Port Harcourt, one will come from Aba, they will parade that route 247, both morning, afternoon, and evening. But since we entered the democratic system of government, such things have ceased to exist. I don't know why. If such things are existing, they show well. Now, Nigeria should know very well. Before any attack will happen, there must be an insider. There must be a plan team. I was reading one of the books written by one of these FBI experts from America. He said, people fight security just at the top side. Instead of to sit down and look at it. There's no attack that goes without a background knowledge and that's proper studies. Now you ask yourself, why was they go to that particular spot? I think same with this same with somebody who was attacked good enough. They still go back to that very spot. Now what does it take the senators from that area as a to employ youth to be guiding that area? Does it take? Can they bring out 20,000 naira from their pocket to parade that from that place to end to then another local government will take? It doesn't cost anything. You sure that we see that talk, no matter whatever we are talking in this country today, you cannot stop terrorism in this country. Terrorism is everywhere. But Nigeria are taking another dimension. Now, how do you expect investors to come to Nigeria and invest? It's not possible.
Yeah.
And we are looking at it. Look at every day, tell us our GDP, this and that, and our. They bring every morning, they tell us stories. I agree that governors, they have food, they have interest. But the governors, they should do the needful with the help of National Assembly members and House Assembly. Not every day, now campaign has come. Some governors have come out to use state government money to do what? To start campaigning. They want to be this, they want to be that. It's for you to sit down and do the needful for the state. Look, we are just beating the bush because the way we are going, I've told them, all these so-called terrorism, this is business. They are making money. Look at the young doctor, a surgeon, a very young lady, the future lady, how she was killed. Now, how do you expect the father and mother to survive? They have spent all their last couple to train this girl. At the end of the day, just that the obituary, it's not healthy. Because we are trying to build a country that is not secured. Different people inside. Are you going by air? You don't care.
Okay. Mazi Okoroafo in Arochukwu, thank you very much. Sheyi, coming back to you, in case you've just joined us, Mr. Sheyi Aditayo is a security consultant. We've been together from the top of the program. Your comments on the, shall I say, comment of the minister? It wasn't a complaint. It was probably more an observation or comment that, look, there are aspects that had the foresight to want to embed a lot of these security devices that we're talking about now into it, but maybe it was difficult, maybe it was bureaucracy, maybe it was approval, whatever. So now it's like trying to retrofit, if I'm right. Your comments on that?
Okay, thank you so much, Uncle Yori. I think I'm going to start with the comment of the guest in the studio. It was trying to play down on the importance or the gravity of what is going on right now, and trying to make it sound as if those who are speaking from point of knowledge, expert in this field, as if they are alarmist. One person dying is enough for the whole country to look at the whole process. Not to talk of over 50 people in hospital, gunshot wounds. We had 8 people dead, and there's people in the hands of these bandits. It's enough. And I want to also say that he said because these are imported technology, it works there, it will work here. Sorry, I beg to differ. The fact that Tylenol can work in the US on US children does not mean that Tylenol will work for pain for Nigerian children. My son are taking Tylenol, it never worked. The fact that some people divide, you need to look at your environment. Will it work for our environment? Will it work now? Will it work later? Do we have an environment that will make this to work now? This is common sense. The environment is infested with hungry people that are ready to vandalize anything and turn into money. That same route, they will vandalize the whole census. It's
I hear you.
Even as we
okay, sorry, Sheyi, I hear you, and I'm going. Well, of course, there's still more that you're going to be able to say. But Mr. George has called in from Ikeja. Good morning, Mr. George.
Uncle Yori, good morning, and I greet your guest.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, I do not think that the guest on the other side, the one that is not in the studio, I don't think he's making any alarming statement or apportioning any blame. He's simply saying the truth. Uncle Yori? Okay,
yeah, you're talking about, the comrade here, right? You're talking about comrade Shegwe.
The one online that is...
the security consultant?
Security expert. Yes, the security expert is simply saying the truth. Uncle Yori, if you are familiar with the security agencies, the way they operate, if a crime is happening, they will not do anything. They will say the commander did not give us command to do it or to arrest the situation. That's how they operate. I do not see any reason why this security or insecurity cannot be tackled. Why did we buy Tucano jets and all the rest? What can be more terrorist than what we are seeing now? We need United Nations classification to get rid of these criminals. Is that what we are looking for?
But Mr. George, let me say it again. The president has already directed the military to be merciless, ruthless.
Yes, Uncle Yori. It's one thing to direct, but it's another to implement the directive. How many times has he given these directives and they are not obeyed? And yet, life just goes on like that. They look at his body language. When you direct and it is not implemented, what are you supposed to do? These chiefs will still remain there and nothing is done. You know, I've always been the one saying that the president waits for things to deteriorate before he takes action, like the one in his political party that just happened. Do you know how many people are killed in a day in Nigeria as a result of insecurity? I'm told that 12 local governments in Niger State are under the control of Boko Haram, but because I don't see any difference between Boko Haram and bandits. It's the same thing. They're just using differences in words. But what can be more, the people who are dying in Ukraine, for example, where there's a full war, they are not as many as the people that are dying of insecurity in Nigeria daily. What can be more warlike than that?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the government has not given the necessary seriousness that this issue deserves.
All right, then.
And they should do it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. George. Now, maybe I need to, Comrade, give you an opportunity to respond, Comrade Shegun, because what you did say was you counseled not being discouraging of government's efforts, but you did counsel that we shouldn't be here to, and I was saying that nobody wants that. I couldn't agree with you more. We're not going to start disparaging whatever efforts, but that doesn't mean that we have experts who come in and look at whatever the issue is, and they will add their own to it, but not to discourage. I think that was what you said, but would you heard it yourself? Are there aspects that you'd like to respond to?
What I'm saying is this. Okay, do we say because we have felt the environment is infested, and of course, certainly nothing is going to work? It's not like that.
You know, that's the question that I myself asked. I even asked it of, Sheyi.
So what
do we do now?
The government should be further encouraged. This is not the first time we're having this attack. We had it the first time in October last year. It happened again. And the fact that
this is the biggest. This is the biggest in our history.
The fact it happened again is an indication that more still need be done.
Exactly. That whatever is being done has not had the desired effect.
I would rather want to subscribe to the idea of encouraging the government to keep looking at various opportunities available to really right the challenges of insecurity in and around railway. And why that has to be, if the railway is a mass carrier, and in any event of getting any threat recorded against it, you can begin to imagine the level of calamity, the level of impact it will create. And that is why we should all join in encouraging the exclusive owner of the railway, which of course is the federal government, to do the needful, to protect the system,
at the end
and protect the passengers, and particularly the workers, on duty. Well, as it is now, they are doing fantastically well, and they just need to improve more on the security.
Although not everybody will see it like that.
Of course.
And it is their right to, come up with that conclusion that fantastically well is a bit much, will be what some people will say. But in the meantime, Mr. Jonathan in Abuja, good morning, sir.
Sir, Chief Yori. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Please continue.
Yeah, my brother, thank you for your fantastic job you are doing for us here. We're enjoying the work.
Thank you,
So
sir.
what my suggestion is that our security people is like, I don't know how to explain it, but there are no political way to deal with these terrorists. How are you telling me that a terrorist will attack a port and nobody is arrested? They are a military facility in Kaduna and nobody was arrested. Okay, are you telling me that if this is happening in Southwest, that federal government will not be send all the soldiers there? Look at what they did in the Boho house. They sent the soldiers to the Boho house, arrested people unlawfully. But these terrorists are killing people every day, and nothing is happening to them. Once you hear that they arrested Boko Haram, they give them freedom, they train them. What our country are we living?
Well, okay, Mr. Jonathan, I appreciate you, sir, but when you brought in Igboho's house, the assault on Igboho's house, I think that's a different kettle of fish. I mean, we're talking about terrorists here. Those other people might have been seen by the authorities as lawbreakers. Lawbreakers or whatever, but they're two different kettle of fish is what I was suggesting. Maybe because when you see, because you were saying there's no political way, but you've just introduced politics into it. You yourself were just saying there's no political way to fight terrorism, or maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was
they used to pursue.
Your point is taken, sir. Thank you very much for calling in. I got to cross over now to hello, Sheyi? Aha.
Yes.
Okay. People, you know, all the efforts that government has put into it so far, yeah, there will be people like you and other people who are aware of what's going on, but most other people, the ordinary citizen, the bottom, the base of the proverbial pyramid, they just want results. And if they are hearing that in spite of the Tucanos, in spite of the military hardware, in spite of the innocent vehicles to increase the frequency of patrols and all of that, we still are hearing news. We're talking about one, you were advising me that did I hear about another one this morning? So the ordinary person is seeing that nothing is being done. Now that might not be accurate, but that is the effect that the ordinary person has.
You see, we started this program together. Your guest in the studio was not part of the program at the initial stage, so he didn't really understand what we said before. So his statement is like trying to change the narrative to make it as if we are not encouraging the government. We said it with itemized effort that government has made. And we are trying to x-ray this current solution. Is it fit for purpose? What we need to do? See, the truth here is that we need to look at these things holistically. We have been making efforts all this while. Has it solved the problem? If it hasn't solved the problem, it means that we need to have a change of direction.
Yeah.
Vehicles have been bought several times. These new ones that were given to the IGP, road patrol, vehicles cannot patrol that terrain of the rail. We all know that. It is to help on the major highways. Drone has its own, if it is a drone that is not harmed, it cannot intervene other than for it to give you visuals, situations on ground. And drones also will need to travel. And we're talking about a length of about 186 kilometers. It means that you have to deploy several drones at every point in time to monitor all the length and breadth. Then, what is the response arrangement? How soon can a response be made? Now, we're talking about people who do not even care armed robbers who want to rob and then escape. These guys are ready to die, even in the process of trying to.
They're like suicide fighters.
And then, if you look at the incident that happened in October, intelligence report indicates that Boko Haram sponsored that attack. I have the details. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it out. The names of the people that were contracted by Boko Haram to rig the rail. Everything was made available. So we're talking about an organized, no international terrorist organization sponsoring an attack on our rail system in October that did not succeed as much as it took them 6 months to realign their activities, replan, and then relaunch the attack.
Okay.
That is what we're
Okay.
We're not talking about.
I get you.
Teams who want to rob a coach. So putting an ISM at this time will only serve for a short time. Everything will go away. Why waste that money now?
Okay,
we need ISM. So the environment right now.
We've almost run out of time. I get you. Thank you very much. I indeed, I sense and I feel your urgency, the urgency you are bringing to it from the perspective of a professional and looking at the pros and indeed quite a few of those cons to this particular project. Thank you very much, especially as I said at the top of the program, coming on in spite of feeling under the weather. We appreciate your perspective. Sheyi Adetayo, security consultant. Thank you very much. Okay, and well, so this is a situation that pains everybody, and not everybody knows as much about it as there is to know, I would imagine. But we've heard what you've said, that your perspective is that, look, no matter the pain, government mustn't be discouraged, is what you are saying.
Certainly.
And what has been done maybe needs to be appreciated, you know, for what it is. Certainly. Even though I think you emphasized, you yourself would be the first to say there's a heck of a lot more to be done.
Certainly.
Okay. Then. So I think we're going to have to leave it there. And I want to thank you very much for coming on. Much. Appreciate you, Mr. Segun, Comrade Segun Eson, General Secretary, Nigerian Union of Railwaymen, and journalist as well. Okay, so that's our program today. Thank you also for calling in, those that were able to get in. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.